The Los Angeles Rams could lose this key position coach. Where's he going? Also, what is the latest on Kevin Dotson? Has he practiced this week? Will he play on Saturday? And everything you need to know about the Carolina Panthers. That's coming up next on Locked On Rams.
You are Locked On Rams, your daily Los Angeles Rams podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Ramley, and welcome to another episode of Locked On Rams, your daily podcast covering your Los Angeles Rams. Free and available wherever you get your podcast. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network, now the number one sports podcast network. We're also available over on YouTube, so if you haven't yet, do me a huge favor. Join the party. I know there's always new viewers, new listeners, and we've got a bunch this week. So hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. If you want to support every single episode, hit the like button and drop a comment down below. Podcast listeners, write us a review. We'll read it on the show. My name is Doug McCain. Friends call me DMAC. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. I've covered LA sports for over a decade, 24/7 sports, Bleacher Report, SI, Dodgers Nation, now the LA Sports Report. That's where I'll be going to Rams games, the Credential Report. It's through Newsweek. I actually had my man Jake Ellenbogen. I had him on the show pretty recently. Good times with my man Jake Ellenbogen. Love that guy. But today I'm flying solo. The People's Champ, Mr. Travis Rogers. He is out today. He'll be back tomorrow. But on today's episode, lots to get into. We got the latest Rams injury update. We're going to talk about the Rams, some of the expert picks, and everything you know about the Carolina Panthers. We'll get into that. But first, today's episode of Locked On Rams brought to you by FanDuel. The wild card round is here, and FanDuel is officially in playoff mode. So visit FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. All right, so let's get right into it. Let's start with the latest Rams injury update. So we know that Quentin Lake is going to play. We know that Davante Adams is going to play. The question now is, will tight end Terrence Ferguson, rookie out of Oregon, play? And will Kevin Dotson play? Well, after practice today, the Rams released their second injury report, and there wasn't any changes. The only change from Tuesday was that Darius Williams, he missed practice for a personal reason, but Davante Adams and Quentin Lake, they were both a full go. But Kevin Dotson, Terrence Ferguson, Jordan Whittington, and Josh Wallace are all still sidelined. Sean McVay is still uncertain if Dotson, if Whittington, or Wallace are going to play, but he does expect tight end Terrence Ferguson to play. So Tyler Higbee's back. He had a touchdown. He had a drop. He had 5 catches for 91 yards. He's got the chemistry with Matthew Stafford. I expect him to be a factor. Also, Colby Parkinson, he gets his own touchdown. So I expect pretty decent play from the Rams tight ends. There's no doubt about that. They're going to be involved with 13 personnel looks, 12 personnel looks, things like that. But Terrence Ferguson, he brings almost a hybrid style of weapon, a guy that can really stretch the field. You can find him open on the verticals and seams, and they really schemed him up to get him wide open. Let's see if he can be a factor. I think that he's definitely going to find a role for this team in the playoffs as far as a guy that can make big plays. If you need explosives, that's the tight end to look for out of the bunch. Now, Braden Fisk and Tyler Higbee, they were limited on Wednesday, but they'll be good to go on Saturday. They played in the regular season finale, so they're going to be good to go. The Panthers had just one player miss practice, and it wasn't even because of injury. Derek Brown, he just got a rest day, so no real key significant injuries at this point for the Carolina Panthers heading into this one. But the number one question as far as the injury front goes right now, all the attention, all the focus is on K-Dot. Kevin Dotson has not practiced yet this week, and this is a big deal. Can you beat the Carolina Panthers without your star right guard, Kevin Dotson? You could, but you're going to need him back if you want to make a deep run, because Justin Dedich, he was barbecue brisket. every time he's given opportunities. Against the Cardinals in the Rams regular season finale, he had a 56.9 PFF grade, but you go deeper than that, he had a 36.6 pass blocking grade. He allowed 3 pressures. Not seeing the lanes created in the run game. When the Rams want to run duo, when they want to get physical, open up some holes, some creases for Blake Corum, for Kyron Williams, some of the outside zone. If you want to have an impact offensive lineman, Justin Dedich is not that guy. But he did miss practice again Wednesday. You have just Thursday and Friday before game day. And let's not forget that, first of all, go back and watch that game. I was watching the All-22 because I'm a crazy person of the Seahawks game again. I just want to go back and check that out. You saw the Seahawks doing some very interesting things to the Rams offensive linemen and Kevin Dotson in particular. And to me, you go back and watch that game, Rams were a different team when he was out. And it was a big reason why the Rams ultimately blew that 16-point lead in the fourth quarter, lost at the Seahawks, lost the 1 seed, and are in the position that they're in now where they're even having to play this weekend. And on top of that, having to play on the road when they've had a great season. So his impact is extremely, extremely felt every time he's out there. And if you're going to have Justin Dedich at right guard with him out, I mean, it's at the very least okay, here's the thing. Dedich is not great. He's below average for sure. But I guess the only way to spin some sort of positive on this is that you should be able to take care of the Panthers even without him. And then 2, that Dedich filling in for Dotson is a lot better than DJ Humphries filling in for Alaric Jackson at left tackle. We saw what happened a few weeks ago on Monday Night Football against the Falcons, how that worked out. So we'll wait and see. Just kind of speaking to some people on the inside and things like that, some people think he will play, some people think he won't play. I mean, we talked about it on our episode a couple of days ago, and Travis feels like he is going to play, right? Travis definitely knows people, and of course, we have a pretty good idea of injuries and who's going to play, who's not going to play, things like that. I think the big question is, if he does play, how effective could he be? And for me, the number one question is, could he make it worse by playing against the Panthers? And then you run the risk of not having him for the division round and for the NFC Championship game for the Super Bowl. He's a very key cog to what the Rams are trying to do. So that's the other element to it. But then on the flip side, too, is, hey, with no K-Dot, you can't take him with you to Cancun, right, if you're going to lose to the Panthers. So you want to have your best team possible, but let's not forget, it's a pretty decent chance this team's going to play the Philadelphia Eagles, and you definitely want to have Kevin Dotson close to 100% going up against Jalen Carter and wanting to have him be close to being at his best. So, yeah, hey, I will say, let's remember what the Seahawks did to Kevin Dotson if they face them again, because, I'll just leave it at that. Now, next quick note is on the defensive side, on the coaching side, there's a lot of rumors that are swirling about Sean McVay's assistants, and most notably Chris Shula. Will the Rams lose Chris Shula? The Titans, according to Jeremy Fowler, have Chris Shula on their radar. Another thing that's interesting is Mike LaFleur, the Rams offensive coordinator, is another guy that keeps coming up as well. He's in his third year as the Rams offensive coordinator. He doesn't call the plays, but he does provide a lot to the game planning and everything the Rams do during games with him and Sean McVay. He's, of course, the brother of Rams offensive coordinator Matt LaFleur. But Mike could be in line for a head coaching opportunity. He's not really the big loss. I mean, he would be a loss for sure because he's really good and he works well with McVay. The big loss potentially could be Chris Shula. You got the name pedigree. You got everything that he does schematically. And I think that there's a lot of people that have been rough on Chris Shula, criticizing the lack of aggressiveness from the Rams cornerbacks, 10 to 12 yards off the ball, off the receivers, and allowing teams to kind of dink and dunk and death by paper cuts their way down the field at times. But let's not forget, this is one of the cheapest, in air quotes for the podcast listeners, by definition, defenses in the NFL. I mean, you don't have these all-pro superstars at the peak of their powers in the primes of their careers on these massive deals. That's not what this defense is. And a lot of the schematic advantages that Shula brings to this team are maximizing the roster that you do have. Even look at the guys they just gave extensions to. Quentin Lake was a later round pick that they drafted and developed, and Nate Landman was a guy that the Falcons just basically, it was over for him there, and he was signed for a minimum, right? I mean, he's basically a little bit of an NFL journeyman up until this point. So they've identified talent well, but you know, the Jalen Ramseys and Aaron Donalds, at least right now, aren't on this team. I mean, Jared Verse has the potential to be, no one has the potential to be on Aaron Donald's level, maybe unless you're Reggie White or Lawrence Taylor or Myles Garrett or guys like that, Deacon Jones, guys like that. But Kobe Turner and Jared Verse, Byron Young, very talented football players. Young still not. I don't think they've reached their prime. So that's kind of why I still think that for all the fans out there, say, oh, Chris Shula wouldn't be that big of a loss. No, he would be a big of a loss. And you saw Raheem Morris got fired by the Atlanta Falcons. Hey, look, if you're linked to Sean McVay, if you are a Sean McVay disciple and you're having a good year and your last name's Shula and you're related to the great Don Shula, you're going to get your opportunity. I used to say that back in the day when McVay really started to emerge as one of the best coaches in the NFL, anyone that had any type of link to McVay could get a job. I used to say that if you sold Sean McVay a pair of shoes, you could probably get a job in the NFL as an equipment manager somewhere just by saying that. And that's the impact that he has. But we'll see. I'm sure you're going to see some shakeup at the end of the season if they win the Super Bowl or they make a deep run, because that's just the nature of this game. The bigger problem is when no one wants your coaches. That means your team isn't winning, and that means that no one really wants your coaches, and that's really the mark of a good program. Look at Alabama and Nick Saban. Look at the college football playoff. All four coaches. Dan Lanning. You've got Golden. You've got Mario Cristobal. And you got the great Kirk Cignetti. They're all Saban disciples. And McVay, his coaching tree continues to grow. But coming up next, we're going to talk more about this Panthers matchup. We're going to talk more about the predictions on the Rams and what that means for this team as far as the odds go. Start to feel good, Ramley. Saturday it all begins. That's coming up next on Locked on Rams. Hey guys, the draft pick positions are set, and so many teams are looking for their franchise QB. Ever wish to become a pro QB, getting drafted first overall by the Los Angeles Rams? Well, now you can. There's a mobile game just for you called Ultimate QB Football Legend. In this game, you step into the cleats of a number one draft pick quarterback, and it's your job to lead your team to greatness, to help turn a failing franchise into a dynasty. This is the number one QB career mode game on the mobile app store, and it introduces the most realistic environment with full career control. Sign contracts, train and upgrade yourself, build chemistry, and evolve your teammates. Give input to your GM on roster moves, play the actual games in 2D, and rise through the ranks to become a pro football legend. You'll deal with the ups and downs of a QB career, from rookies to rookie nerves to playoff drama, and every choice shapes your journey. Ultimate QB is totally free to play, has no ads, and works 100% offline. Perfect for when you want to sneak in a quick game or two on the go. Just head over to ultimate-qb.com. That's ultimate-qb.com, or search for Ultimate QB in your app store. And we've got something special just for you guys. Use code Locked On, all caps, in the game store to get a free boost at the start of your career. That's Ultimate QB Football Legend QB1. It's your legacy. Finding a doctor you actually like can feel like discovering a diamond in the rough. You want someone in network, nearby, with availability, but you also want a doctor who really listens, makes you feel comfortable, explains things clearly, and helps you walk out feeling confident about your next step. Your diamond in the rough doctor exists, and finding them is easy with ZocDoc. ZocDoc is a free app and website that helps you find and book high-quality in-network doctors so you can choose someone you truly connect with. I love that you can search for specialty or symptoms and quickly find the right fit. Being able to choose in-person or video visits makes scheduling way easier. You can check the verified patient reviews to get a real sense of the doctor's vibe and communication style. The real-time availability means you can book instantly, no phone tag. Appointments usually happen within 24 to 72 hours, and they can even have same-day openings. If I need to book a care fast, this is the first place I'd go. It just makes the process simple. Stop putting off those doctor's appointments. Go to ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNFL to find and instantly book your doctor you love today. That's ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNFL, ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNFL. Thanks to ZocDoc for sponsoring this message. We are off and running here on Locked On Rams. Thank you for making Locked On Rams your first listen every single weekday. Free and available wherever your podcast. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Also, thank you for making Locked On Rams your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. And if you haven't already, go check out our new Everydayer Club. It's really awesome. I've got a lot of feedback from you out there that have talked about it and have really enjoyed a lot of the benefits from it, and it's just beginning. It's going to grow, it's going to get bigger, and you're going to see all the pluses from it. And one thing you get on top of everything else is you get access to ad-free audio, and it's compatible with Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and every other major podcast app. And you get an invite to the members-only Locked On Everydayer Club Discord server, which includes a group chat just for listeners of this show. And if you're hanging out in the Discord, hey, that's what you want to do. Hype it up, man. I'm definitely going to be getting involved in this. So definitely go to Locked On Rams Everydayers Club, and that is definitely where you want to go. I mean, if you want to join the Everydayers Club, it's myself, it's Travis Rogers. We're gonna be in the mix, and yeah, definitely excited to see that grow. But all right, here in our second segment. By the way, go to LockedOn Podcast.com/podcast/locked-on-Rams. All right, here in our second segment, though, you can feel it. People are jumping back on that bandwagon for the Rams. People are jumping back on. I don't know how it makes me feel, but it does make me feel a certain way. Because NFL.com, a group of analysts and writers, Tom Blair, Ali Bonpuri, Brooke Carosimo, Gennaro Felice, they predicted every single playoff game, and they have the Rams facing the New England Patriots in Super Bowl LX. And they think it's going to be a rematch. Remember what happened? We won't talk about that. But here's what they said about their prediction. Quote, because they look like the best team in football entering Week 16 when they held the top spot in the NFC and NFC West standings, and we don't feel much differently about them now. Despite their usurpation by the Seahawks and all the deliberation that rivalry has required throughout this file. So he also talked about how it's going to be different from any other number 5 seed to win the Super Bowl in the past 14 years, the 2020 Bucs. He also had a couple similarities. He said, first, like that Tampa crew, the Rams finished in the top 10 in EPA per play on both offense first and defense 10th, something just 3 other teams in the current playoff field accomplished. The Patriots, second on offense, 9th on defense. Seahawks, third on offense, second on defense. And Jags, 6th on offense, third on defense. Second, the Rams are led by an experienced, established stud QB who actually boasts an advantage that Tom Brady didn't 5 years ago, having already claimed the whole enchilada with his superstar once before as his coach. So it's definitely a bold prediction, but it's NFL.com. I mean, like, those guys are legit, right? I mean, I respect their opinions and I like their methodology. And bringing this up is more to say that, yeah, people are starting to realize after them not getting that 1 seed and just seeing a little bit of a downward slide towards the end of the year, that this still is an incredibly talented team that has a chance to beat everyone. And no one wants to play them. All those things are true. And other things, too. I mean, you look at some of these awards that are coming out. Matthew Stafford, he was named PFF's MVP for 2025. The Rams had 2 players who make the PFF All-Pro First Team. Of course, you can guess them. It's Matthew Stafford and Puka Nacua. Matthew Stafford was named NFC Offensive Player of the Week for Week 18. So I think that this team has turned the page. They're ready to roll. They understand how talented this group is. And now the next question is, how easily or how difficult is it going to be to beat the Carolina Panthers? Because a playoff game is a playoff game, no matter how you want to slice it. Well, you just kind of look at this Panthers team, and sure, they beat the Rams in Week 13. In that game, you had a costly fumble by Matthew Stafford. He had 2 interceptions, and it was not his best game of the season, to say the least. In fact, it was quite possibly his worst game of the season. And the Rams still almost won that football game. The Rams should win this game by 10 points or more. FanDuel has the Rams as a double-digit favorite. They are the biggest favorites heading into this week. But who is this Panthers team? Like, can this Panthers team make things interesting? Well, I think you have to start with Bryce Young. Bryce Young, on the year, he's not a guy that has a lot of pass attempts, and he's not a guy that is going to dominate a game at over 400 and 500 yards. But to his credit, he's won 14 NFL games in his career. And yes, considering how many years he's played, that's not overly impressive at all. But 12 of those 14 wins have come on game-winning drives. So I think for starters here, the Rams need to be all gas, no brakes. You need to come out, set the tone on offense, be effective on first down, second down. The Rams had the fewest third down attempts in the league for a while because of how successful they are on first and second down. You call that Canadian football, right? Canadian football style is they say, forget third down. We're never getting to third down because every first down, we're getting a first down, and maybe at the worst, it'll be a second down. And just win the turnover battle, and you're going to probably win this football game, and you're going to win it by double digits. But the last thing you want to do is come out slow, give them some confidence, maybe have a turnover, a fumble on their side of the field, and then you're having to chase, and they got the home crowd behind them, and they're really playing with house money because no one's expecting them to win, so there's no pressure on them. And the last thing you want to do is go into the fourth quarter and give Bryce Young an opportunity with the game on the line late and allow him to make a play and allow him to lead a game-winning drive because he's shown the ability to do that. So make sure this is not a close game because anything can happen in the fourth quarter of a close game with 2 NFL teams. Then you go to the running game. I think that's one of the big factors here as well. With Quentin Lake back, Poona Ford, I think that's certainly going to be a big factor because for most of the season, the Rams have been really, really good against the run, and this Rams team has really improved in that area significantly this year. But one of the big reasons why the Rams lost to the Panthers in Week 13 was because the Panthers had a pretty effective run game. Chuba Hubbard, 17 carries for 83 yards, a 10-yard long. Rico Dowdle, 18 carries for 58 yards, had a 17-yard long. Then Bryce Young, he had a 24-yard scamper to himself. So they really toted the rock. I mean, 40 carries for 164 yards on an efficiency level. That is not a number that blows your mind. That's a number where, just 4.1 yards per carry. but it was how much they were committed to it and how that kind of wore the Rams defense down. And really, you didn't see very much pressure. They sacked Bryce Young 2 times for 12 yards, but Bryce Young was efficient, 15 for 20, 206 yards, not a lot of yards, but 3 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. And that Ted McMillan 43-yard touchdown late really was the difference. And he only had 2 targets in that game. So you're not going to see a ton of passing, and they're going to lead on that run game. And Dowdle, 58% clip. Chuba Hubbard, 41% clip. It is a 1-2 punch. They play very similar styles when it comes to their running game. They're going to be physical and big and just keep it on the ground, north-south type of runners. But they can bust it outside if they're given a crease. They break a tackle. So they're not these home run threats. You're probably not going to see the Saquon Barkley type of plays that we saw in the division round. That really was the difference in the 2025 playoffs, but they're going to have to stop the run. And if they want to make a deep run, they're going to have to stop the run. So it's a really good test from that standpoint. Then the other match I'm looking for on the offensive end is Ted McMillan. I mean, the Panthers, their receivers, they're big. They're athletic. They're quick. Xavier Leggett. You got Jalen Coker. You have Jimmy Horn. They're all on the younger side. And Ted McMillan is one of the best rookies in the league. He was selected 8th overall. He's lived to the hype of rookie out of Arizona. And I think, for me, the big question here is, do we see a game where the Rams are not getting consistent pressure, they're leaving their cornerbacks and their boundary corners on islands, and they're not winning their one-on-ones? Because any quarterback that's getting a ton of time to throw is going to have a chance to complete some passes downfield. And we've seen recently there's been too many plays where, whether it be Emmanuel Forbes getting turned around or whether it be Akella Witherspoon, who, Michael Wilson is a fantastic young receiver in his own right, but the Rams are just not really intimidating and imposing their will on opposing receivers. So that's going to be a matchup that's going to ultimately go a long way to deciding this game. Will the Rams have success against the Panthers passing game, even though you're not going to see tons of opportunities? We saw 206 yards, 3 touchdowns, but there are going to be moments of this game where if the Panthers are going to win, they're going to have to take some shots, and they're going to probably look at this and say, hey, that's how we win this game. I mean, we feel pretty good about the Rams' ability to stop the explosive plays with the Rams stopping the Panthers running game. But the big question is, can the Rams have success against wideouts of the opposing teams? Then you also got the tight ends too. I mean, they got very minimal usage. You're really looking at 5 to 8 targets per game tops between Tommy Tremble and Mitchell Evans. But it could be higher in this game. It really could. So, the other thing too to look at is the offensive line for the Panthers. You got Austin Corbett, old friend. You got Damian Lewis. You got Taylor Moton. You got Ikewonu. You got Cade Mays. They've used a lot of combinations, more offensive line combinations than the Oregon Duck uniforms, than the soft drinks at Sonic. I mean, lots of combinations here. They've used 10 different offensive line combinations. That leads the NFL, but this group is getting cohesive. They're getting consistent reps. This iteration of the Panthers offensive line has played together for 6 straight weeks, and PFF, they ranked them as the 20th best in 2025, which is not great, but not the worst. And they're 23rd in pass block win rate and 28th in run block win rate. So, I mean, I think you look at Taylor Moton, and he's 19th as an offensive tackle in pass block win rate. But this is a matchup. This is really where the Rams can dominate this football game, where the Rams can come out and say, you know what, the playoffs are here. We're making light work. Let's beat these guys bad. This is a business trip, and let's get on to the next round. Is getting disruptive. Like I said, 28th in run block win rate. They should be able to stop the run. 23rd in pass block win rate. I want to see a big game from Jared Verse and Byron Young, Braden Fisk, and Kobe Turner. And we saw Deshaun Johnson was really good. We saw Josiah Stewart getting some reps in as the Cardinals. He's been really good. So that's where the game needs to be won. So Tomorrow we're going to kind of look at the other side and continue to break this one down. But coming up next, something else you need to know about the Rams in the playoffs. That's coming up next on Locked On Rams. The wild card round is here, and FanDuel is officially in playoff mode. Every game day during the NFL playoffs, FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in on the action. Because right now, every NFL playoff game day, FanDuel users get a profit boost pack waiting for them inside the app. Each game day, you'll see a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts you can apply to the bets you like most. Open your profit boost pack first thing on game day and see what boosts you want to apply. The boosts let you lean into your game day instincts, whether you're backing momentum, defense, quarterback play, or coaching. The boost gives you more juice on the bets you already like instead of forcing you to bet something new. Every play feels bigger, and the boost makes you feel that way too. You make your picks, then apply your profit boost to get an even bigger payout while the playoffs get rolling. So visit FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. And welcome back to Locked On Rams. Thank you for making Locked On Rams your first listen every single weekday. Free and available wherever your podcast. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Okay, here in the third segment, real quick, some of these latest mock drafts are coming out. So the Rams, they have the number 13th pick in the draft from the Atlanta Falcons after trading out of the first round last year. They had the 26th pick. They traded the Falcons. The Falcons selected James Pierce, ended up having a really, really, really nice finish to his season. That pick is certainly looking like it's working out, at least so far, for the Falcons. But it's fun to look at these mock drafts just to see, and of course, we're going to go all the way deep into draft talk, but in Yahoo Sports' latest draft, he has the Rams taking Sonny Styles, a linebacker out of Ohio State. Interesting pick. Sonny Styles, I watch a lot of Ohio State football. My mom's a Buckeye. Sonny Styles, I would say, is one of the best true tackling linebackers. If he gets his hands on you, it's a tackle. He's one of the best tackling linebackers I've seen come out in years. Is that the wow pick at a position that the Rams don't necessarily love to take big splashes? I don't think it is, but that's pretty interesting. I mean, Sonny Styles at that, I think the perfect world would be if you get Caleb Downs to fall to you. Now, that would be much better. I mean, safety is not the glamour pick. You probably have to trade up to get that. Caleb Downs is going to go definitely a little higher than that. But already fun to start talking about the draft because I know my draft nicks, I know my draft junkies are still out there, even as we lead up to a playoff game. But all right, guys, we'll be back tomorrow. We got a crossover edition. And, oh, man, we're getting close to the playoffs. But that's going to do it. My name is Doug McCann. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. And until next time, whose house? It's Locked On Rams house.